All right. Whew. So first of all, before I start this particular episode, I want to thank those who have reached out and have given me feedback and praise with regards to this particular podcast. Um, yeah, I'm very overwhelmed. No? So thank you. Those that haven't sent in, I still do appreciate it if you do reach out and let me know what you think. And you know what? A good if I can make a request now, no, if I can make a request now, I have a couple. If you could share this with people that you feel that they would get something out of this, no, they get may benefit nila, I would appreciate that. If you could leave a review wherever you're listening to this, that would be super awesome then. Kasi that will help me reach more people. And then finally, I actually have a private Facebook group. Parang sinet up ko siya before when I used to do workshops related to this, and then for the students. And then I said, why not, for those that are listening to this, para we have a place to do discussions. You can join. So you can look for Dream Nation PH sa Facebook, and then join the Facebook group. No? So I look forward to seeing you there. Okay. So in this episode, I want to discuss something related to this. No? And why it took me a bit then. And this has been always in my plan naman. Pero what took me so long to finally do it? And it is something that I know a lot of people, if not all people, are dealing with. No? And it's the fear of judgment. No, so for me, I was thinking na ang daming okay na podcast dyan. So when I put something out, it will definitely be compared kaagad to how podcasts are usually done. And if you've noticed, and I've been talking about this since I launched naman, na I just threw all that away and sabi ko, wala, I just went for it. Recorded, not having an editor, not having any music. Kasi, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, which we'll get into a bit. Na. And really throwing away the idea that I will be judged. Na. And that has been, well, for me, that's been working. No? Kasi imagine, I threw that away, and now I'm recording episode 4 of my podcast. So what I want to share with you today are a few points. I'm not trying to be the person to say, remove your fear of judgment. No? Kasi syempre, it's going to be up to you then, and I don't know kung ano yung level ng fear that you have. But what I want to share with you in this episode is some points lang that has allowed me really to let go of the fear. So I'll share them with you, and then syempre, it's up to you whether or not you feel that whether holding on to the fear of judgment that you have is something worth holding on to pa rin. Okay. So I guess I'll start by my first point, which is the fact that everyone judges. And it's simply because it's what we do. Yeah. So I don't know what time you're listening to this today, but if you think back in the past few hours, how many people have you judged? No, maybe you watch TV, may nakita kang newscaster, then ginudge mo na yung what he's wearing, what she's talking about, how his accent is, maybe the people in the news, whether you felt that you agreed with what they did, or parang may makita kang some sort of maybe murder or something, tapos you judge that person. No? And if you think about it that way, maybe even yung mga kasama mo sa bahay, just parang nakita mo na sila, ginudge mo na sila, are they having a good day, are they having a bad day, naligo na ba to? So those small judgments, dumadating siya automatically. So it's not a conscious thing. No? So everyone judges. It's just simply what we do. And by listening to me now, you're actually judging me already. Listening to me, trying to see, while you're judging my thoughts or what I'm sharing now, whether they're true or not. Before listening to this podcast, you've already judged me whether my content is something that you want to be listening to or not. No? And if you're listening to this, then it's probably you've judged me na okay yung sinasabi ko. So thank you. If you're not listening to this, then you probably judged me and you listened before, then that person has probably judged me na baka hindi okay yung pinapakinggan niya. Diba? In fact, when you think that other people are judging you, so for example, you go on stage and then talk to a handful of people and then they look at you and then pag pumasok sa isip mo that they're judging you, you are actually judging them. You're judging them na ginajudge ka nila. Diba? So this whole idea of being judged, everyone does it. It's just what we do. It's just it's very normal. Diba? So which leads me to my second point. We all judge. And when we judge, it can either be good or bad. Diba? Judgment isn't always bad. Kasi when we talk about judgment, feeling natin, ginajudge tayo, medyo masama na eh. Parang, ay, sino ba siya? Who is he to talk about this stuff? Life coach ba siya? Certified ba siya? Ba't siya nag-Facebook ads? Blueprint certified ba siya? Taga-Facebook ba siya? Who is he? Who is this person to be talking to us about this particular content? Yun yung naiisip natin when it comes to judgment. But judgment can actually be good, di ba? If you're listening to this, again, you probably judge me for good, di ba? Meaning, for probably the good, I don't know, maybe it makes sense to you, basically, sinasabi ko. Diba? The people that you like, or for example, your favorite restaurant mo, your favorite food mo, kaya mo sila favorite because you judge them. And you judge them to be something good and something to be your favorite. So, I invite you, now when it comes to judgment, always think na, yes, people can judge you in a bad way, but people can judge you in a good way as well. I like this example about, may video na nakita ko a couple of months back eh. And it was the time nung, syempre ako, I'm in the internet marketing space. So, though hindi ako techie, I kind of know how search results work. Diba? And parang they were interviewing Google, or the Google CEO, kasi they felt, or some ignorant lawmakers felt na when someone would search for something, there would be a group of people manually manipulating search results. Meaning, for example, pag nilagay Donald Trump, there would be people putting in a picture of a monkey, or parang when people put in, let's say ERAP, ang ilalagay nila would be the time when ERAP was president and then he was impeached. Ganyan. So they felt na there were a group of people na biased who would manipulate search results para to influence what people think, no? Pero one senator came to the aid of Google and sinasabi niya na that's not how it works, di ba? Para it would the search results would feed relevant what other people are clicking on, what would be relevant based on the search query. And he put it simply, no? He put it simply and sabi niya, if you want good search results, then do good things. If you don't want bad search results, then don't do bad things. Kasi syempre, if going back to the be do have idea, di ba? If the senator is a bad person, yun yung B niya, yun yung kind of person na that he or she is, then that person will do bad things, no? Corruption, stuff like that. And then if he is known for that and he does that, then he will get search results relating to that. No? So parang be do have siya. If you want to have good results, then you should do good things by being a good person. No? So that was sort of an aside lang. Pero again, going back to the point na when we judge, it is for something good or for something bad as well. So why not let's do something good or something we believe to be good, so that we are judged good if that is something that we want to do. Okay, next point, number 3. And this is something that this one point has really made an impact to me with regards to this whole judging thing. Now, back in 2017, sabi ko hindi talaga ako expert. Magkapa-expert muna ako bago ako maglabas ng content. And this particular piece of idea, this idea was what really got me over the fence. And here's the thing. What ang alam kasi natin is when we go out and do something, public speaking, write content on Facebook, have a live video, that we will be judged. And that's true, diba? When we go out and do something, we will be judged, again, for good or for bad. But here's the thing. Even when we are not doing anything, we are already being judged. Yeah, so think about that. By holding back, by not doing anything, because it is in our nature to judge, without doing anything, you are already being judged. So my invitation is might as well be judged for doing something awesome, for doing something that you like, for doing something that you personally feel has an impact on the world and the people around you. So you are already being judged whether or not you are doing anything. So why not be judged for doing something? Okay? Right. So that's one of my, alam ko mabilis ako magsalita, but I made an effort to slow down there kasi that's one of my favorite points. Baka nga dapat I save that for the end pero, oh well. Okay. So next part, number 4. And this is more really for growth, no? Na a lot of the growth that I have had in the past couple of years are all because of feedback. And people will give me feedback when they judge me. So I actually now welcome judgment. Kasi that's the only way I know how to grow. No, here I'll give you an example. I recently did a relaunch for my program for Facebook ads. No? And for some time, syempre, there's always the fear of judgment. Normal naman siya. So I was fearing na i-judge ako ng mga tao, and then what if it doesn't work and they judge my program to be hindi okay. And the truth of it is, at least for the past couple of weeks, we did a launch and very happy with the results of it naman. But I would have, syempre, it's a business, so I would have liked to have more students. No? But I didn't. I didn't reach my personal target. So I could have felt bad about it. But what we did was to basically ask the people why they didn't buy. No? And I got a lot of replies back na parang, okay siya, it looks great, pero I didn't join because this reason, this reason, this reason. And those were reasons that we would have never found out if we didn't do the survey, if we didn't allow ourselves to be judged. No? And now we have a list of things to improve on so that when we do relaunch, whenever, it's mas purposeful siya. Rather than, uy, hindi gumana, hindi tayo nag-hit ng targets this particular launch. Sige, let's do something else. Tapos let's maybe get an idea from other people or whatever, diba? But pero walang basis yung gagawin naming change. But here, we actually got feedback, specific feedback from our target customers, and they were telling us exactly why they didn't buy and what could have probably pushed them over the edge. So that in the next launch, whatever we will tweak, mas may purpose siya kasi these are based on exact feedback. No? This podcast, for example, that's why I'm very thankful for the feedback. Now, the reason why I decided to just go with it is one of the things that I struggled with when I was planning it is what exactly to say. No? But I came out with, so I had my intention. I said my intention on episode 1. I launched this. People were started to give me feedback now. And now I know in what direction to semi-take it in the next few episodes based on what people have been saying about what they're learning so far. No? So now, instead of giving random content in the next few weeks, mas may purpose siya. And just to illustrate it further, no, ito example. Alam mo yung may mga tao na may BO lang talaga sila. Diba? And hindi nila na-realize, and ako alam ko to kasi experiences na, hindi nila na-realize na may amoy sila. Kasi syempre, yun na yun eh. And the only way they know how is if they allow themselves to be judged. If they allow themselves to be judged and get feedback na parang, uy, medyo try natin mag-deodorant dyan. So I know that's a stupid example, pero that's one of my point is, by allowing yourself to be judged, getting over the fear of judgment and even welcoming it is actually a means for you to grow through feedback. Alright? I know with regards kasi dito, one of the main things na kinakalaban is perfectionism. No? And ako, I'm a fan of Shark Tank, particularly si Mark Cuban. And he said something in the episode that I watched recently. Parang sabi niya, perfectionism is the opponent of profitability. No? Even more specifically, perfection is the opponent of progress. No? If you try to hold on to perfection, make sure everything's great, before you actually do a launch or do your podcast or whatever, then it will, parang mahirapan ka mag-progress. No? And yung perfectionism kasi, if you look at the be do have framework, when you try to be perfect, when everything has to be perfect for you to do what you have to do, like for lunch, in order for you to be happy or successful, as you know, as usually it won't happen. Why? Because you're coming from a place where everything is not enough. For perfectionism, everything is not enough kasi it has to be perfect. Na pag may nagawa ka na, for example, this particular lunch hindi siya perfect kasi I need to have background music or intro music. And then when I do get intro music, because in my beingness, in my being a perfectionist, um, my my mindset is always it is always not enough. So kahit na may background music na ako, I will always find ways na parang, ay, no, it's still not enough. Kailangan meron akong editor. Parang gano'n. So, yan. Allow yourself to be judged, and that is where we can grow. Okay. Last couple of points. And this is another thing that na nagka-impact sa akin with regards to judgment, and that allowed me really to let go of the fear of judgment. And this is the idea that judgments are not a reflection of you. People who are judging you, it's not a reflection of you. It is a reflection of them. So this is a personal example. No? Growing up, I've always hated. I've always been polarized. Parang ayoko ng mga taong mayabang. Because growing up, what I was taught was masama maging mayabang. It's best to be humble. Don't mayabang kapag sabihin mo yung mga skills mo na accomplish mo or na magaling ka. Mayabang yon. And anyone who comes across as that, parang instantly nare-repel ako sa kanila kasi mayabang. And it was only in the past couple of years, and then parang paminsan-minsan din from before, that when I started to realize na may mga taong mayabang, automatically nare-repel ako. Pero buti na lang, in some way, we got together pa rin. And then, a lot of my good friends ngayon all started na kilala ko sila sa mayabang, and I didn't like them. Pero ngayon, they're really good friends of mine. Even past that. And what I realized was, yung idea of pagiging mayabang, number one, ito sa belief lang, na that was instilled to me when I was younger. And because of that belief, yung self-reflection sa akin was that, parang me judging them for being mayabang, and being repelled to them wasn't really more of dahil mayabang sila, but it was because I was coming from my belief na it was a reflection of myself na ang belief ko is masama maging mayabang. And ako, though I want to achieve what they have, kasi these are successful people though I want to achieve what they have, I couldn't find it in myself to be mayabang kasi yung belief ko nga was masama maging mayabang. So, because I was struggling with that, gusto ko maging mayabang to be a good, kasi syempre, if I want to be a Facebook ads expert, gusto ko sabihin sa world na Facebook ads expert ako. Pero hindi bawal daw ako maging mayabang Yun yung belief ko. So, I was coming from that struggle. And then, so anyone who was freely letting the world know of what their expertise was, it came across as mayabang to me, and it repelled me. No? So, I hope that made sense. No? Here's another example that I think would be clearer. No? And this was given to me by a friend. Na parang, in an event daw, this girl with blonde hair, for example, sinabihan siya, you know what, you have ugly green hair. So sabi na, that's parang, the girl with the blonde hair, parang, okay, sige. Tapos parang sinasabi ng guy na, no, seriously, you have fucking bad, ugly green hair. And then trying to put her down. And then, so pag tinatanong ng guy, what are you feeling? Sabi ng girl, wala. Sabi ng guy, bakit? Sabi ng girl, kasi alam ko naman na hindi totoo. Alam ko naman na wala akong green hair. So, the judgment of the guy, syempre sample lang to, hindi siya totoong ugly green hair. So the guy was saying na parang, when people judge, it's because they see something through their own lens. And kung napapangitan sila dun sa green hair, na wala naman dun, issue nila yon, diba? if alam mo sa sarili mo na you don't have ugly green hair, or alam mo sa sarili mo that you have good content, or alam mo sa sarili mo na expert ka sa subject matter mo, it doesn't matter what other people think. Kasi yun yung, parang yun yung ano nila eh, yun yung perception nila eh. Diba? Yun. Parang, it was very powerful to me yung illustration na yan. Kasi, what matters naman is what you think of yourself. Parang, yes, people will judge, but it will always be coming from their lens. And we don't know what their experiences are to be able to say na tama sila. Diba? So what matters is what you judge yourself to be. So other people will judge. As we talked about, people will do that. No? So what's important is how you judge yourself. Diba? And if we allow people based on their own experiences to judge us and to let those judgments dictate what we do, diba? Parang, can you imagine how hard that is? Na parang pinoproject nila yung parang scarcity nila or whatever sa atin na wala namang impact talaga. Wala naman talaga dapat impact sa atin. Okay? Okay. So 2 last points with regards to fear of judgment. Again, these are just really to invite you to think about whether or not it's worth it to hold on to the fear of judgment. This is one that allowed me talaga to do the podcast. This point. No? And the point is, when you go out there, launch your podcast, do your content, launch your business, you never know who you're helping kasi. You never know who you're helping. Especially with the age of social media now. For example, this podcast can reach a lot of people with this podcast. But because of privacy, I don't know who they are. I don't know who you are. Listening to me right now, I don't know who you are. But if I'm able to touch you in a way that helps you break through, in a way that helps you see yourself bigger, then I'm happy. And can you imagine what if you never came across this podcast? What if I never did this podcast and you never came across anything like what I'm sharing with you and you never get your breakthrough? Diba? So I think personally for me, yes, there is still the fear of judgment, but what benefit can I get out of it? I might be changing someone's life. Someone's life whose life would probably not have been changed if I gave into my fear of judgment and not do this podcast anyway. No. So for me, that's a big benefit talaga na sobrang talong-talo yung fear of judgment na it's worth it. Okay. And ito lastly, I was set to do this podcast na yesterday, tapos nag-gym ako. And this was, I felt like I had to add this point. I felt like I had to add this point. Na when I was in the gym, there was this guy, dalawa na kami, there was this guy na naka-earphones. And maliit lang yung gym So nakikinig ko sa podcast ko. And not my podcast. I was listening to a podcast na pinamahinga ko usually. And then there's this guy. Tapos this guy kept on singing ng sobrang lakas. Yung ang lakas talaga. Okay lang ako mag-hum or whatever. Pero lakas talaga ng lakas talaga ng pagkanta niya. I was had to do this podcast. So naisip ko, I got to think about that situation and think na, una ko naisip, hindi ba naisip ng guy na na-judge ko siya? Kasi obviously, naririnig ko, dalawa lang kami nun. But here's the thing. When he was singing, it looked as though masaya siya. So, it actually didn't matter what I thought. Whether I was judging him bad or good or parang walang etiquette. It didn't matter to him kasi what mattered to him at that moment was that he was exercising, he was singing, he was in the moment, he was happy. And he did not allow the judgment of other people to take his happiness. And when everything is said and done, for me, this is a personal thing, when everything is said and done, yes, I want to be successful, I want to have I want to provide for my family, I want to touch people's life, but in the end, if I were to die right now, what would be my big takeaway? What would I hold on to? It's the idea that I am happy right now at this moment. I am joyful and I am grateful. And I will personally, this is for me, I choose not to let the judgment of others take that away from me. I refuse to let the judgment of others keep me from being happy, being joyful, and being grateful. So yun yung nakita ko example yan. It doesn't matter what my judgment was for the person. Parang sige, ito is my judgment. And who would get worked up kung if I judge him negatively? For example, na-stress ako. Tapos parang sinasabi ko, bastos talaga yan eh. Tapos hindi naman ganyan dapat pag nag-gym, dapat may etiquette. Sino nasi-stress? Ako. Pero siya, masaya siya. Didn't care about people judging him. And he was just happy. And alam ko lahat tayo maraming dreams, but in essence, don't all our dreams all root back to our own happiness? So that's my invitation. Does your fear of judgment, is that bigger than your desire for happiness? To be happy right now. To be grateful with what you have right now. Kasi for me, kasi it's not worth it. For me, I would choose to put myself out there, live a grateful life, live a joyful life, live my purpose, what I feel my purpose to be. And if the price I have to pay for that is people judging me, I'll gladly take it. Okay? All right. So again, this is an invitation really for you to look at your fear of judgment. I'm not saying na what, tanggalin yung fear of judgment, wala yan. Kasi those fears are definitely valid. Diba? I'm not one to say na just remove it. But really the invitation is, I hope any of these points allow you to rethink whether it is worth holding on to that fear of judgment. Personally, my hope is that you get to realize that it might not be. No? That other people might benefit from you putting yourself out there, and even you might benefit from you putting yourself out there. All right. So thank you for listening to episode number 4 of this podcast. Again, please share it with anyone that you feel this would be helpful. Please leave a review on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you're listening to this. And please join the group Dream Nation PH. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.